Hey everyone, welcome back to Sunspot. I was just talking to a friend and I wanted to just get this message and this video out right away because it charged me up and it gave me this topic that I wanted to discuss. So we're in my car and maybe I'll record more in my car because I feel like the best time to record is when the idea is ripest. We were talking about the idea of memory food and that question you can ask yourself, like, what am I eating mentally every day? We're often thinking about what we're eating, obviously, in the physical sense. Oh, I should have less fried foods. I should eat more leafy green vegetables. So we're taking stock of what to eat more of and what to eat less of, or what to cut out altogether. And this is becoming more common that people are doing this for their sort of mental diet. But I think we have to be in that practice a lot more regularly of asking ourselves, what should we not be consuming and what should we be consuming? But I think in order to know what you should be consuming, the focus first needs to be on what you should not be consuming and giving yourself time to refresh and reset your own discernment, because we're diluting our own decision making. We're diluting our own sense of truth and self. And it needs to be like, gone are the days of I'm consuming all this random crap advice from YouTubers and influencers, and I'm reading this book and I'm reading that book, and you're just constantly in a state of anxiety and worry that you're not getting the right answer or that you need the right answer. And so you're always in a chase, and you've diluted any discernment that you might have as to where a deeper truth and sense of wisdom is coming from. And I think that applies to external and internal. So you have to pare it down to also then know what to add back in. Honestly, it's really like an elimination diet. You have to ask yourself, where is my intuition being diluted? And where can I cultivate that more by spending a little more time inside? That way, if I do want to, have, some media consumption, I'm clear on what's actually adding value and what I'm actually connecting to on a deeper level versus what is just bringing me a sense of comfort, or honestly even continuing a sense of like worry or distrust. I think you can jam so much information in your mind that you actually don't even trust yourself, but you also don't even trust where you're consuming anymore. That compass is broken. So we went in on this, and I just felt like it was something really important to remind myself of, remind others of, and talk about a little bit in front of the camera. And it also brings up this idea of like increasing or lowering your vibration. If you don't believe in that, well, you can even think about it as your quality of life. Like, what is your quality of life? Are you increasing your quality of life or your quality of mind? Or are you decreasing your quality of life and your quality of mind? Because the conversations we have with ourselves is largely informed by the time spent alone with ourselves, and then the input, and of course the output, right? So the output is usually coming from that time spent with ourselves, and the input is the conversations we're having with people, the media we're consuming, whether it be a book, a video, audio. And in order to get that input clear, we already touched on that, or sorry, the output clear, we already touched on that aspect of it, right? Paring down, giving yourself a reset on your compass. But you also have to be thinking about the input from other humans, right? So it's not just about media, but it's also like, what's the quality of conversation you're having with people? And you might be dictating that, right? You might be having a very chaotic or judgmental or unclear conversation inside of yourself. So when you go and talk to others, maybe you're living in a space of negativity and you're perpetuating that. Maybe you're relating to other beings through negativity. I actually think that's the number one way people relate. You know, when you talk to most people and they ask how you're doing, or you touch base with them, usually the first thing both of you will exchange is some sort of complaint or comment on what isn't working that day or that week before getting to the good stuff. And so we have to see how we're dictating that level of conversation, but then how are we allowing ourselves to talk to others? How are we also allowing others to talk to us? You don't have to, engage in gossip and negativity and drama at your workplace or with your friends. You can set a standard for not engaging that. You're not a victim to that. And I think a lot of us feel like we're not capable of controlling that and changing that, but we can, right? We're just not doing the conscious work of saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to choose to disengage, or I'm actually going to add tools to my toolbox of communication by saying, hey, you know what, I actually don't really feel like talking about this right now, or find a passive way to remove yourself from a conversation you don't want to be in. But some of that input is also just a reflection of your output. So if you enter in a negative conversation and you're like, oh man, here's what's going on, and you're dictating from a certain space, people will sometimes just meet you there. So, we have to think about that. And then we have to think about, okay, what are people saying back to us? Maybe, your cousin Kathy, or your buddy Jim at work, maybe they just kind of talk crap or complain or funnel a bunch of political nonsense toward you that you don't really want to talk about. And instead of setting a boundary, you might just take it and deal with it, or reply to it and engage in it because you feel like you owe them something, or you feel like you're being rude. But who you're really being rude to is yourself, because you're not setting a standard for what you're consuming and putting into your mind and your brain. This is your life. This is your consciousness. Like, you have to be your champion, your defender, your quality control person for what is entering your being. And so let's not just think about it in terms of eating a healthy physical diet of foods. Let's really start thinking about collectively, like, what are we consuming mentally, right? What's serving me and what is not serving me? And if it's not serving me, what way can I set a boundary, remove something, turn the volume down on something, literally or figuratively? And you will also notice an interesting quality here, which is just part of this topic, is that you'll develop a different sense of self-respect too. And you don't have to be rude to anyone. And this isn't always even about other people. It's not even about the conversational element. It can just be about what I was talking about with media. But it is a sense of self-respect, because you're respecting your time, you're respecting your energy, your mental space. And if you're watching this video, I know you probably already do a lot of work on yourself. If not, you're beginning to, or you want to. And when you do that, you also have to protect that, almost like with a tenacity, because our number one resource in the world right now is attention, and people are buying and selling attention in mass. And if you can protect your attention, it cultivates a sense of self-respect. It cultivates a higher vibration. It cultivates a higher quality of existence, a higher quality of mind, and your mood will increase and be better. your quality of conversations will be better. And you'll also notice what slips past your filters, or what used to slip past your filters and what no longer does, which I think is also a cool experience to have. Is like, as you practice this, you then will start to see like, oh, I used to let that fly and now I don't. And that's going to surprise you. It's going to be delightful in moments. And you're going to have a little moments where it's like, you know what? I'm proud of myself. Like, I didn't go, look at my ex's Instagram story again. I didn't go check in on X or Y news thing that I already knew about, that maybe I just wanted to re-engage in the drama of. I didn't answer the phone of that friend who's a little negative or dramatic when it wasn't right for me. I, didn't engage with that coworker or that person at the bank who just really wanted to talk to me about the new TikTok that they saw or whatever. I mean, that can be fun, but all these examples, it's like, it's not about shutting the world out or people out. Like, especially if a friend calls and they're in need, it's just about knowing when that's right and not right for you. So I think that the memory food can also be thought about in that way of, what memories are you creating and cultivating? That's why I loved that word when it came out, and him and I laughed because it was like, we were both like, that's a video topic. I think if you can, the best thing you can do for the future is take care of the moment. And when you're taking care of the moment, you're planning for the future. And when you're taking care of the moment, you're also thinking about like, what memories am I creating for myself? We all look back fondly on certain memories, and why were they so great? Well, they were really lived in the present moment, and they were usually free of noise and free of junk. It's always the quiet moments and the joyful moments. And quiet can even be like, you remember like letting it frickin' loose on the dance floor at your friend's wedding. But what was quiet was all of the noise and the stuff that was taking you out of the moment. And when you're consuming a lot of media and you're consuming a lot of life that is outside of the quality of mind and vibration that you want to cultivate, you're actually getting further and further away from living in the moment, because there's more stuff between you and the moment. And when you're trusting your intuition and your discernment, because you took the time to let it be quiet and be clear, you can look back on your memories and there will be less interference, almost in like the auditory sense. You don't have feedback loops. You don't have buzzing and fuzz and noise. That's limiting your ability to listen to yourself. And I'm one to love. I mean, I listen to lectures every day. I read. I'll go on, Instagram and look at some funny crap sometimes. I try to be actually more limited on that stuff lately. I don't know how good that is, almost sometimes in any degree. I try to get inspired by it. I think that's the key, is like noticing when you're inspired by content versus it's perpetuating some internal mood or some repetitive cycle that you have. And maybe that's the key for all of this. But yeah, I'm one to engage in media consumption. I'm not some monk out on a mountain, but I feel like I say that in every video. I probably do. Tag it at me in the comments. But yeah, I just am really encouraging that we all do this. I'm saying this for myself too. Like, think about the memories you want to look back on, and think about, would this be part of the highlight reel of my life? Like, would I want this random junky, mind food in there, or would I kind of clip that from the movie of my life, So get out there, do your best. We're all human. You're on a karmic journey. Trust it. Believe in yourself. Quiet your mind, open your heart, and allow yourself to laugh and find joy. Talk to your friends. Stay close to your family if you love them or you like them. and I will look forward to you guys tuning in again. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the comments I've been getting lately and the people who are engaging regularly. It means a lot to me. Keep doing it. Subscribe, comment, like it, turn on the notifications, at me and share things you want me to talk about. And I am forever grateful for you for tuning in, whether you're new or returning. So I'll see you on the next Sunspot. Love you guys.